On the streets of Damascus, people are out enjoying the winter sunshine. Syria has long been an island of stability in a troubled region. But the appearance of calm has come at a high price. The price of freedom for those who oppose the regime. We're driving past the Adra prison just outside Damascus. It's where most of the political prisoners and prisoners of conscience are held in Syria. Human rights activists here put their numbers down to more than 2,000 detainees. Outside the prison, large portraits of President Bashar al-Assad look on. It was too dangerous to film openly here. These few images were taken in secret. Caught up in this prison system are dissidents as young as 20, like this woman, Tal al-Nuhi.
عن طل النلوحي عن إنساني معنا بتنظيم سياسي، معنا بحزب معارض، معنا بمنظمة حقوق إنسان.
This online activist, who I'll call Jamal, has agreed to speak to me on the condition of anonymity. Jamal didn't know Tal personally, but has taken up her cause.
كاتبت طل، هي كاتبت طل الملوحي إلى السجن.
Tal was a blogger who ran 3 websites. She often wrote about the Palestinian cause, freedom and social justice, postings that would be unremarkable in most countries.
عم تحكي عن السجين إنه هو الطليق وأنتم السجناء، لا يضير النسر أسر ولا يضيره سجن، فهو الطليق وأنتم السجناء. ننزل شوي أكثر نلاقي هاي الصورة مكتوب تحتها يا قوم لا تتكلموا إن الكلام محرم.
But in late 2009, Tal's writings suddenly stopped. She was called into the offices of the Syrian security services and never left.
نحن بنعتبر طل مختفية قسريا، يعني ما كان أي حدا بيعرف عن طل شيء، حتى أهله ما كانوا بيعرفوا مكان لطل، وين موجود الطل، هل هي بعدها موجودة بفرع أمن الدولة؟ هل هي صارت موجودة بفرع آخر؟ هل هي أحيلت إلى سجن؟
For a long time, it was unclear what crime Tal al-Nuhi was accused of. Only rumours reached the streets. But after 11 months, she was finally charged with espionage.
طبعا هو اتهامها بأنه جندوها تجسس وهي في مصر، بأنه سفارة أمريكية جندت للتجسس وهي في مصر.
Dateline has exclusively obtained details of Tal's charges, which includes an allegation that she sent a letter of congratulations to US President Barack Obama via the White House website, that she was recruited by a woman named Jessica from the American Embassy in Egypt and asked to spy on Syrian officers, and that she was paid by the US Embassy to write articles critical of Islamic movements.
Our most basic demand is, if you have evidence against her, refer her to a fair trial, not to a trial before the State Security Court, because we know what the conviction rate is at the State Security Court. It's 99%.
Nadim Houri is a senior researcher for Human Rights Watch. He's banned from Syria, but has been monitoring Tal's case from his office in Beirut.
From what we can access, if you look at her blog, if you talk to people who knew her, be it in Syria or in Egypt, this is a girl who was like any teenager in high school, an idealist, who wrote poems about the Palestinian cause. And if the security services are saying that she might be a spy, I'm not sure what information, what sensitive information a 19-year-old who spent most of her last 2 years in Egypt could have access to.
When Dateline approached the US Embassy in Cairo for a response to the allegation that they had recruited Tal al-Nuhi, they replied, "We have nothing on this." Nadim Houri says older dissidents have already learned not to rely on the West.
It was a hard lesson to learn that when they got detained, when they got arrested, all they got was maybe some junior level diplomat raising politely with the Syrian authorities, their arrest. But no real pressure, no real signaling that the international community really cares about what happens inside of Syria. What we've seen time and time again is the international community caring about Syria's foreign policy.
Dr. Walid al-Bunni is one of those who felt left in the lurch.
أنا وغيري ونتيجة الحملة الكبيرة بالدعاية بأنه العالم الحر يريد أن ينشر الديمقراطية، يريد أن يدعم حقوق الإنسان. بجوز فكرت إنه أنا معي ناس كتير بمطلبي وبنبل.
At great risk to himself, Dr. Walid agreed to speak with me about his time as a leader of the Damascus Spring, the pro-democracy movement which began in the year 2000.
بدأت ظاهرة اسمها ظاهرة المنتديات. بدأت بإنشاء منتدى أو 2 أو 3، فجأة وخلال عام أصبح في كل مدينة سورية منتديين أو 3 يجتمع الناس فيه ويتكلمون بحرية.
After the crackdown, Dr. Walid spent 5 years in solitary confinement. This radio was his only companion.
كان كل شيء أنا منه تعلمت الإنجليزي، منه عرفت شو عم يصير برا يعني.
Dr. Walid was only recently released from a second jail stint. This time, the democracy activist shared a cell with 100 convicted thieves. It was a situation which even his fellow inmates found absurd, as he recorded in his diary.
And then he shouted to the other, "Man, medicine doctor here in our room. He's a political prisoner."
هذا جزء من المكتبة.
Economics professor Arif Dalila is another one of Syria's leading dissidents.
هذه الكتب معظمها في الاقتصاد والأدب أحياناً.
He spent 7 years in solitary confinement and it's taken its toll on him.
السجن في كل مكان سيء، إنه حجز الحرية والنشاط وامتهان للإنسانية، ولكن في سوريا أسوأ مما يمكن أن نتصور يعني. كانت مرحلة السجن مرحلة قاسية جدا من جميع النواحي الصحية والنفسية. وهذا كتاب عن كارل ماركس مؤسس عن
Mr. Dalila has now been blacklisted from his profession. He also left jail with a number of medical problems and needs to travel abroad to receive treatment. But like many other dissidents, he's banned from leaving the country to stop him speaking out.
فهذا يعني أنه بالنسبة للمثقف أنه سجين، بغض النظر عن كونه خرج من السجن الانفرادي إلى المجتمع، ولكنه يبقى سجينا. فالفكر الذي لا يسمح له بالانطلاق.
There are many more activists at work in Syria, but they remain in the shadows. Getting people to speak on camera was no easy task. Many simply declined, while some of those who did speak later requested for their interviews to be deleted, fearing the repercussions it would have on their families and themselves.
And 50 years fighting for democracy, for freedom.
Nothing has silenced Syrian activists more than the arrest of Haytham al-Malih. He's known as the father of human rights in Syria and has never been afraid to give provocative interviews like this one 5 years ago.
كلهم سقطت شعارات حزب البعث الثلاث: وحدة، حرية، اشتراكية. بدل الوحدة تمزيق وتشرذم، بدل الحرية سجون ومعتقلات وقمع، وبعد الاشتراكية.
Despite having already spent many years in jail, al-Malih refused to be silenced.
I think he felt somewhere that maybe he was sheltered by his age. This is a man who just turned 80 last year and who had spent a good chunk of his adult life in jail.
It was this 2009 phone interview with a Syrian TV station that triggered al-Malih's most recent arrest. This secretly filmed footage shows the moment he was convicted.
تجريم المتهم هيثم خليل المالح بجناية نقل أنباء كاذبة من شأنها أن توهن نفسية الأمي ووضعه لأجل ذلك في سجن الاعتقال المؤقت لمدة 3 سنوات.
In these rare images of the interior of the Syrian military court, the 80-year-old is under heavy guard. Al-Malih is granted a few moments to comfort his wife. It's their last embrace before he's yet again sent behind bars. According to Haytham's son, Iyas, his imprisonment has had a chilling effect on activists in Syria.
The people were pretty much afraid, look, if Haytham Malih is arrested and, nobody is able to do anything to free him, then, why should we speak up?
I caught up with Iyas Malih in Geneva. Iyas has moved to Europe to spearhead a campaign for his father's release.
So his health conditions really is deteriorating drastically. And unfortunately, the government is not paying attention. And I don't know if they can have that on their conscience if he dies in prison.
Tonight, I'm accompanying Iyas as he receives yet another human rights medal on his father's behalf, this time from the Swiss-based Al Karama Foundation.
My father will come out of prison again by the will of God, stronger than before, and he will continue his mission in life. Thank you.
He's an inspiration to all young human rights defenders like us. And certainly he, I think, has contributed immensely to the spirit of human rights in the Middle East and to the breaking of that wall of fear.
It's a mixed feelings, really. I wish my father was here, so that makes me feel sad that he was not able to enjoy this, himself being present here.
Human rights organizations aren't the only ones decrying Syria's hard line on activists. The detention of the young blogger Tal al-Nuhi has sparked protests outside Syrian embassies around the world, in London, Paris, and even here in the Middle East.
اجت هيك الحملة صادمة بالنسبة للنظام السوري، واللي كان يمكن صادم أكثر بالنسبة له إنه في إلى بعد عربي، يعني صار في مظاهرة بمصر، صار في باليمن، صار في بباكستان، فلأول مرة النظام السوري بيكون أمام هيك حالة.
Inside Syria, Tal's supporter Jamal has been working on an unprecedented online campaign for her release. Jamal shows me how they bombarded social media sites to raise awareness of Tal's situation.
فتوا على الفيسبوك بيجز تبع العالين مين؟
حافظ الأسد، بشار الأسد، اسماء الأسد. لأول مرة جربنا نحن هون السوريين إنه أوكي نحن ما عم نقدر ننزل على الشارع نعمل مظاهرة بالشارع، ممنوع، التنفس صار ممنوع بالشارع، فلأول مرة بنعمل مظاهرة إلكترونية. هيدي كانت لأول مرة بنجربها، لأول مرة نعملها وصار وعملت ضجة يعني.
We approached the Syrian authorities for this story, but they declined to comment. So far, Syria is showing little of the instability that has toppled the Egyptian and Tunisian regimes. But despite their lack of progress and the risks to themselves, Syria's dissidents are not giving up.
Why do you continue to pursue this?
ما هو الخيار الآخر؟ عندما تؤمنين بفكرة وتبدأي باكتشاف صعوبة تحقيقها، هل من السهولة التخلي عنها؟ فكرة البقاء بدون ديمقراطية، بدون حرية صحافة، بدون حرية تعبير عن الرأي هي موت لشعب كامل. قصص الحب كثيرة، يعني أحيانا الإنسان منشان مرة واحدة، منشان بنت واحدة ممكن يدفع جزء كبير من حياته أو كل حياته، فشلون إذا كان منشان شعب هو يحبه عن جد؟